5, thrust set. 5500. 31. Rotate.
Hello, hello. What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. Finishing up the week here strong. All week we've been flying Learjets, man. I picked it up, didn't think I was going to really enjoy it, and that was couldn't be further from the truth. So I am absolutely in love with this Learjet. I even printed out some paper checklists, some paper charts for perf data, because yes, we're taking this puppy up to Aspen, Colorado. I'm not quite confident enough for Telluride. We'll do Telluride next stream, but we're going to Aspen today. We're going from Las Vegas, and I wish I was live when it happened, but I saw my first ever IVEO traffic takeoff. It was a 787, I believe. Looked like a lot departing out of Vegas. It was pretty cool looking. We are on IVEO. Yes, everything still remains the same as previously discussed. We'll just leave it at that. I do have something exciting to share with you, though, that today's in-flight entertainment will be brought to you by none other than Green Dot Aviation. We're going to be going over a video that I haven't watched. I've read about the incident, but I think it will apply. It's about the incident in Italy with the Citation jet and the MD-80 that collided. So speaking of, there's those collisions, that collision in Haneda, we're flying a corporate jet. That one that was in the collision is a jet that I flew all the time. So I feel like it'll be a good short IFE. We only have 500 or so miles to Aspen. We're not going to rip it at like 8.4 Mach. We're going to be a pretty conservative flight over there, but it should be fun nonetheless. So good to see you here. Michael Laub, Alex 5150, Vegas here. Tyson's in the chat. Good to see you. Zach Lewine, Velociraptor, Kyle Lewis, Paul Luck, the McAllen, Vega 13, let's see, AJ Funari, good to see you, man. Al W in the house. Team Vodka, good to see you. Rotor Fib, Caleb W, Mysterious Mr. T, Digital Merc, Scott, Victor Silva, Tyson, did I already say that? Mark, Phase 1 NE is here. Big Sierra, good to see you, good to see you. Stratocast is here. What's going on? Salute to you. I am on Iveo, Fireflyer. I'm on Iveo just to see what's going on. Just checking it out. Just checking it out, my friend. All right, I'm going to get everything set up over here so we can walk right over there. Let me make sure my sim sounds are up. All right, we are right where we left off last night. If you haven't watched the approach last night into Lost Wages, I highly recommend you at least go check it out. It was absolutely awesome. So we're going to walk out of the ramp here. I don't know why I'm like 3 feet tall. Let's go ahead and make it a little bit more realistic. Well, that's too tall. I don't know what quite, how you measure. Well, according to the sim about that guy's height. We'll walk over here. Nope, that's not our jet today. We're going to head over to 474 Alpha November. We're sporting the AirNet livery today. AirNet, call sign Star Check. I wanted to make sure, someone said that in the chat. Thank you, Mysterious Mr. T. Yeah, Star Check. So I believe, isn't this a subsidiary of Kalita or something like that? There was some connection with Kalita, but it's a cool call sign. Star Check 357, headed up to Aspen. We'll do a quick little walk around the LEAR 35 here. Now, I did pick up a quick hotfix in the Discord for FlightSimWare. They're pumped out a hotfix for being stuck in altitude hold mode. That we encountered that briefly last night, but because I have my boundings properly set up now, courtesy of y'all who sent me messages and kind of helped me get some extra bindings done, we should theoretically have everything ready to go. We'll go ahead and pull those pitot covers. We'll just make sure everything else looks good. Man, I love this jet though. Doesn't it just look awesome? Ramp presence, Lear 45. I mean, it's as close to a fighter as you are gonna get. David Isaac, good to see you. Blessings, V1. Hope all is well. What is up? Good to see you, David Isaac. Your Santa Monica Learjet landing featured on Flighttek to Sim's current stream. So, Victor Silva, I was watching Flighttek to Sim, and I was incognito. I was like, is he going to do it? He is. He's going to do it. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if he didn't hit submit. He never actually posted that comment, or else I never got it. But that was quite funny. I got a huge kick out of that. I thought I could fly under the radar, but I guess not. I guess we're going to just have to wait until Mr. Flighttek to Sim has a little whoopsie. And, I mean, hey, at least we went off the runway with the gear down. So if you're all dual watching streams, I do love Flighttek to Sim, great dude. Yeah, just remind him from me. Just send him a message from me right now. Tell him this is your friendly reminder from V1 to lower the landing gear before landing today. So anyway, yeah, that was awesome, man. I love Flighttek to Sim. He's doing some de-icing ops in the 7.3. We don't have a 7.3. We don't have a fancy 7.3. We have an old school Learjet ready to rock and roll. I mean, this is going to be a fun one. This is going to be absolutely awesome. Let me reset the drone cam. We'll switch right over to cockpit cam. Here we are at our EFB. Lauren, good to see you. Was fumbling on one of those Star Check call signs last night. Yeah, it's so I think I did it right. I mean, it's not like there's going to be any controllers on, but POW, P-O-W, I believe is the ICAO, right? And then it's Star Check. So I had to do a little research, but I remember hearing Star Check on the radios before. So anyway, I was going to say it was Amjet, but Amjet is it's like someone in South America, right? Because Amjet call sign is pretty cool too. Amjet. Hope you're doing well, V1. Excited for another stream. Got worked by a 15 to 20 knot crosswind in Southwest Florida this morning. Ooh. Well, I am well. Hope you are well. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. All right, we got our chocks removed. Let's go ahead and connect the GPU. With the GPU connected, let's go ahead and kind of do a little pre-start flow here. We'll get our battery on, turn the emergency battery on. That'll remove the flag. We'll uncage that here in a little bit. What we're going to do, so this GTN 750 does not save your flight plan, or I guess you can save it and then, reload it. But Real Lear guy said on the UNS-1 that they just kept their avionics on. So for start, so we're just going to do that. We're going to load up load up the flight plan with the avionics master on right now. We'll get our inverters on. We'll go ahead and we'll do marker beacon. That's all after start. No, that's actually before start. We'll get these on. Autopilot power can stay off. Pitot heaters can stay off right now. We got the no smoking fasten seatbelt sign is on. Anti-skid is on. We can do a check of the hydraulics. So we've got hydraulic pressure, and we'll go ahead and hydraulic pump is off. Flaps are in the up position. I'm going to hide this yoke over here. Coming over to this side, we'll get our nav light on for right now. We're not quite going into the startup. Then I'm going to set our cruise altitude. I don't remember what I filed, but let's just see what we got here. Let's go east is odd, so we're going to take her up to, it's 500 miles. I don't want to spend the whole time climbing. So we're going to set 35, so I'll put 36. Actually, that's pretty low, isn't it? Let's get up high. Let's go to, do you think we can get to 40? Let's go to 40 even. I know west is odd, but we'll go 40 wrong way. Well, I'll set 40, we'll stop at 39. How's that? That way everybody can be happy in the chat. I'm like, oh, you can't fly at even altitude going eastbound. So we'll set 40, we'll go to 39. And this is, I got to remember to start doing this because I keep forgetting. It's kind of an interesting little altitude select window here. You can't, at least I have not been able to figure out how to get it to move in thousands. So I'm just going to go ahead and set top altitude right now. 390. Gustavo, good to see you with information at Kilo. All right. Don't mind me. Let me just scroll this up here another 5 minutes. You could probably go to 43 or 45. All right, screw it. Let's go to 43 then. I want to go above 41. I want to go above 40. Let's go to 43. The highest I've ever been in a jet was 450, but we'll go to 43. Screw it. We'll go 430. Hopefully we'll have enough time to do our in-flight entertainment. All right, 430 is set. Pressurization is set. We can go ahead and kill the warning light. Let's come down here and start plugging away at this flight plan. It's pretty much direct to. I don't think there's any airways on it.
TOS system test okay.
TOS system check okay. Let me actually pull out my Navigraph charts here. We're going to need the charts today. That is a true statement. So I'm going to go ahead and shift this over. Let me pull up Navigraph. And let me unload this flight plan so you guys can see everything. Alright, flights. Unload, import flight from SimBrief. Load her up, and then I'm going to load you guys up so you can see it, which is over here. Alright. Now, internet frame drops are doing internet framey things. I hope they stabilize. Alright, this is our flight plan. Actually, was that 43? I think it had us going at 43. Oh no, 35, trophy pause. Well, that had us going at 41. So cool, we'll go 410. What did I set? I think I set 43. We'll go to 41. We'll come back to that. Now, this isn't... I have to look if there's a SimBrief profile. I'm sure there probably is one. This had us gate fuel of 4,500 pounds. I feel like that's low, but we'll double check after we get everything loaded up. Coming down to our route of flight, this is where it's pretty... We're doing the Gidget 2 Turker Dice, so you're not going to be able to see it when I start loading this up. Or actually, you will, but I can't. So... I'm going to go load procedure. We're going to go departure. We're going to depart off 19er. I guess we should see what the weather is. Let's do a quick METAR check here in Vegas and see what the winds are doing. Right now, variable at 3. So with variable at 3, I don't want to do a long taxi. We're going to take 19er right or on departure, and we're going to be on the, Gidget 2. So you guys can see it. I can't see it, which is unfortunate. Gidget 2, 19er right. That's the corporate jet departure runway. Turker transition. We're going to load that. You can see that's CDIs and GPS mode looking good. After Turker, we're going to add waypoint, and it's going to be DICE and then IBSCE. So D-I-C-E. Is that 2 E's? I have to keep clicking off. This is kind of frustrating. D-I-C-E-E. Oh, you know what? Did I not save the PDF over here somewhere? I did. There it is. Okay. Let's go ahead. Here we go. So IBSCE, I'm sorry, Turker, DICE, and then add waypoint. It's going to be IBSCE. I-B-S-K-I. Enter that. After IBSCE, we're going to SINSY. S-I-N-S-Y. Now, we're going to really need this terrain awareness and everything as we go into Telluride. The weather was not optimum the last I looked at it. I don't know if it's improving or not, but I just loaded in to kind of see what it looked like over there, and it was going to be interesting. We definitely got to shoot the Loke. We're going to shoot the Loke 1.5. That's the plan. And then skier. All these waypoints are for snow country. Skier, and DBL, which is going to be basically the start of all the mayhem. So we hit DBL, enter. We want the one Red Table, Colorado. We don't want the one in China. Now I'm going to just throw in ASE, and then we're going to load arrival. I don't actually have an arrival. We're just going to load the chart. So we're going to load procedure. We're going to load approach. We're going to load the Loc Echo, I believe it's called. Let me look here in the chart box here. Nope, cancel. I didn't mean to do that. Let's go here. Approach is Loc DME Echo. This is the one we're going to want to shoot. So we're going to load the Loc Echo, and we're going to just load approach. And we understand that it's for monitoring only. All right, so now we can just go all the way back up to the top. Intercept for Leland. Let's take a quick Ganda at our departure. So let's go back. Airports, Vegas, SID. What's the Gidget RNAV look like? Make sure it's nothing, it should be jet only. Yeah, it's going to be a climbing right turn, max 230. We're not going to worry about any of that. We're just going to rip it and grip it, unrestricted up to 3041. Out to Turker transition. Top altitude is 190 should we get anything, any ATC. So everything looks good there. I'm going to go ahead and close the Navigraph. I like the looks of that flight plan, and so we don't have to do that again. I don't want to, I'm not going to shut off the avionics, but when I flew the Citation, it was very sensitive to avionics being on. Well, the Bravo, I should say. The Bravo was very sensitive to avionics power surging stuff, so we would always shut avionics off. I guess if you have a UNS-1 or something, you'd be fine with it, but for sim purposes, we're going to leave it on because I don't want to have to redo that flight plan. All right. With that loaded, let's take a quick look at our weight and balance. Winds are pretty much null. We're going to load it up. We're taking Julie. We're taking Mary, because Mary is in Dumb and Dumber. We're going to take, I guess we'll take, okay, fine. We'll take Jake. And where's the bottle girl? Cindy with the bottle is always coming. And we're going to, it's going to be heavy. Everyone's taking their bags because they got ski bags and everything. So how many passengers is that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Can we throw Will on here? Yeah, we'll throw Will on here too. So Will's on board. Full load of bags. Oh, Julie and Dorothy don't get along. You're right. So we got to take one or the other. One or the other. I don't know if I want to take... Okay, yeah, I want seat 5 empty because we're going to be doing something special with our in-flight entertainment. So we're going to leave seat 5 empty because that's going to be for y'all. The chat box is going to be sitting here at seat 5. Let's go over to the fuel. I've got a setup here. We've got 100 on the wing, 61 on the fuel. That's a range of 1324. Our flight direct line distance is a little over 500. So we've got plenty of gas theoretically to get there, shoot an approach, go missed, try it again, and then go to Denver, which is our alternate. Now, I forgot the ICAO code for that Denver Executive right down there. I love that Denver Executive airport, man. They have a hell of an FBO. Had a great time there. Yeah, so anyway, we have plenty of fuel. That's good. Let's take a look at our weights. Total weight, 157. We're below max takeoff. Max landing, we need to be below 143. We're going to have to burn some gas for sure. So we have to make sure we kind of monitor this burn. We should be burning according to the profile that I have. I don't know how accurate it is. We're going to burn... We're only going to burn 2,000, 2,100. That's not going to be enough. We might have to, I'll tell you what, let's back off this fuel a little bit. Let's go to like 1,000-mile range. Because we don't want to be coming in here super, super heavy. All right, weight 147. We're going to actually back this off even more. All right. Max range 2,000. Effective range, was that effective? 831-ish. So we're right now total weight 142.74. And that should be plenty of fuel. In theory, we should have plenty of fuel. So, no, we're not landing into the hangar. Eagle County might be a better divert. APA, that's what it is. APA, thanks. Hello from Germany. Marcus, good to see you, man. Just came from work, ready for takeoff. Well, we just finished our weight and balance. So with that being done, I'm going to come over here. We're going to go ahead and pull the chocks. We're going to go ahead and close the cabin door. And we're going to get ready to fire it up. You should remove from the tips. Oh, remove from the tips before the wings. Aha, I should do that because tips drain into the wings. I see. Yeah, Adding fuel, I go tips first and then wing. But yeah, removing, I need to go tips first. Okay. I got you, Corn Dog. Thanks, man. I wonder, that's going to balance itself, isn't it? Doesn't it, like, start? Yeah, so it worked itself down. So we're 50-50 on the fuel. I see how that gravity feeding is working. Cool deal. All right. I have my own checklist that we're going to run. Actually, we'll keep this on for this page here for right now. GPU, we're going to do a GPU start. We're going to go ahead and get our beacon light on for start. We're going to leave the avionics on. We're doing a generator-assisted start. Clear. Let's go ahead and fire them up. Starting engine 2. Yeah, we need a juicy sound pack. I'm waiting for N1 moment. There it is. Let's go fuel. Keep my number 1 in the cutoff. I don't know why it came forward. ITT's on the rise. We got our fan speed coming up. Is it worth buying? That's my question. Canadian. It's, if you're okay with early access and waiting for more features to be fully finished, I think you're gonna like it. There's obviously stuff that is being constantly worked on. If you're in the Discord, you can see the updates, the hot fixes that are popping out. It's an early access aircraft, but this to me is this is how early access airplanes should be. It's functional, everything's good. All right, there's our start light out. We're gonna go starter off. We're not gonna go generator on because we're gonna do an assisted start with the GPU on number 1 as well. So we'll leave the generator off until we disconnect from ground power, and then we'll go gens on. So let's go ahead and get a start on number 1. Turning 1. There's the ITT. There's the N2, I should say, rather. Actually, we have some fan speed already. Here we go. Fuel. There's the light off. Beautiful jet, though. It sure can get away, and it can get away from you. That's true. Yeah, it's not a. It's not the easiest airplane to fly, but I love that about it. It's challenging. It's punishing. It's fast. It's slippery. You got to be on it. You get behind, it'll punish you. All right, so we'll wait for. There's our starter light is out. Starter off. We'll disconnect the GPU. Give them the hand signal out front. Clear disconnect. All right, they are disconnected off the GPU. Let's go generator 1, generator 2, and then we're going to go ahead and start with my flow over here on the left. We'll get our pitot heats are coming on. That's not required. Avionics is on. Everything else looks good here. Air ignition, we'll get that before takeoff. Hydraulic pump, we don't need it. We on and check it, which we don't need any because hydraulic pressure's already good, so that is good. Landing lights will stay off. Seatbelt's good. We'll go ahead and do cabin air. It's probably warm here. Let's go cool. And adjust the temp. We'll put it right about here. We'll go cool on the fan, and everything looks good over here. So coming down to our fuel tank. Let's make sure we have right tip. That looks like low fuel, man. Total fuel. I hope we don't run out of gas. I feel a little. I forgot the stall warning heats. I feel a little bit like we're under fueled here. There's the trim knocker. Gonna run that trim. Put it in the pie. Alright, trim is set. We'll power up both yaw damps, but we won't engage them. We'll throw COM 1. It should be on 122.8. It is 122.8. I'll do another barrel ref check. There we go. 3019 is set. Flaps 8. We're just about ready to go. Let me run through engine start, hydraulic, starter switch, left generators, hydraulic pressure, GPU disconnect before taxi, avionics set, weather radar. We'll stand by. It's not really radar. We'll put it in this mode here, map mode essentially. Takeoff trim is check and set. Nose steering is on. Takeoff data, we're set. Flaps 8, taxi light before takeoff, all that good stuff. So we are about ready to taxi. And we can go ahead and get rid of this. We'll hide you. Let's make ourselves a radio call. Which way? How are we getting down to 19? Oh, we're just going to go by Foxtrot. Vegas traffic. What's our call sign? Vegas traffic. Star check 357 taxi on 19 right there. Go out of the Atlantic ramp, Vegas. All right. Brakes released. Lights to the taxi position. They'll marshal you out up front there at Atlantic, and then they'll give the little audio sign. Here we go. Steering check. Brakes check. Here we go. Scar check. Flight vision worthy. Check with Microsoft weight and balance. All right, I'll tell you what. We'll take a little extra gas here when we get to the short of the runway, because I'm feeling a little bit. I don't know. There's something in my gut telling me that we're gonna need some more gas. There's the sphere when she's not lit up. This is day in the life of a corporate pilot, man. Corn Champ, you made a profile? All right, great. I will definitely check it out for SimBrief. I mean, maybe because, yeah, we're going up to 40. Where are we going? Yeah, 43. I'm going to set 41. 43 is going to be a little bit too high. I don't want to spend the whole flight climbing because I want to get to cruise and then just do our in-flight entertainment. So we'll do all of our checks here, short of 19 right. Brakes are set. Let's tackle this fuel real quick. I'm going to come down here. We're going to add a little bit. How about that? That should be good. So now our total fuel is, there we go, fuel quantity 2,800 pounds. Excellent, 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 excellent. And I'm going to dial this back to 41, not 43. And let's verify our pressurization. We'll put it at 42. 1,000 above. Check. All right, let's go ahead and do our reverser check. We'll test. Arm. Clap the buckets. Oh, it didn't deploy. See, that binding is so finicky for some reason. All right, there's our deploy lights. We'll go ahead and stow it. Stow the reversers. Now if I add thrust, after I toggle them off, the lights go out. Beautiful. Get our cams up. Let's go ahead and get rid of the iPad. Before takeoff, transponder, pitot, heat, lights, strobes coming on, stall warning on, thrust reverser arm, annunciator panel check, ignition, radio, well, or radar, rather. Okay, so that's all good. Let's get the rest of our lights on. Vegas traffic start check, 357 departing 19 right on the eastbound departure, Vegas traffic. Let's go. This is the Flight Tampa Vegas. Yeah, 2,800 pound look like King Air numbers. If we run out of fuel mid-flight, can we mid-air refuel with this? Generators are on. Gens are on. Don't scare me, AJ. Stop for Taco Bell, you get plenty of gas. I love it. Yeah, this AirNet livery, whoever painted it, awesome job, man. Looks really good. Also, if you haven't already, go to the request page and sponsor my request for Learjet AM flights, Ameriflights. They had 23s and they had 35s too. So you could do the 35. I put a picture of the 23 on there, but would love for somebody to do an Amerifly livery on this Lear 35. All right. Are you all ready? I want to just verify. I'm going to power this up. Can I just power that? I don't power it now, right? We'll power it after we take off. After takeoff, we'll be nav off the ground. Let me get my heading bug synced up. I'm torn because like I want to fly. I want to look at juice view out of Vegas, but this airplane, you can't really do juice view on this airplane. You need to just fly it. That's kind of what I'm getting to understand is unless you're completely set up for juice view. We'll do one fly with of the strip like that, but we're going to have to be inside. I can get flight director. No, you power it now, engage it later. Okay. Power it now. Power's on. We'll engage it later. Is it the Toga? There we go. There's our FD Toga. Thank you. That's what I forgot to bind. Here we go. Yeah, the temps they're staggered, which is pretty cool. So you have to use split throttles, which is pretty common in older jets. All right, we don't really have any yogas, but I guess this will be a yogas in chat. We'll probably be temp limited on this, I'd imagine. Well, it's not that hot. Here we go. Brakes released. Watch that temp, 850. Close enough. Airspeed's alive. 100 knots, check. V1, rotate. Positive rate, gear up. Fly with. Gosh, I love it. Uh-oh. Why is our nav not nabbing? There it is. There's the turn. Oh, I forgot to open our window shades, chat. Come on now. That's part of our pre-flight. Oh, Allegiant Stadium. Oh, we're going to be well off the departure, but that's just too juicy not to look at. Let's come back around with 200 knots. Do our after takeoffs. Thrust reversers. Arms are off. Oh, we forgot the air ignition. Rip. Accelerating at 200 knots. Looking for 250. That's so cool. Alright. No more juice fuel. Let's get the airplane flying where we want it to be going first. Let's get on to departure. Come back around, intercept this SID here. We'll go ahead and arm 410. Hand flies so nice. I tell you what, for as sporty as this sucker is, it hand flies so nice. All right, there's 250 knots. Adjusting pitch in the turn. Now, if we engage the autopilot, I have it bound for the pitch command, so it should. I mean, to make life easier, I could just go speed hold, but we're going to go above 10 right now anyway. Got to actually engage it. All right, so we're armed, we're in the pitch mode, and we're flying. If you're wondering how we're flying, I'm flying it with the barrel here on the yoke, which I have bound, so you can adjust pitch. So I'm going to press you might be able to see my thumb right here. I'm going to press down, which should lower the pitch, basically like a pitch hold, and we're going to go for about 275 knots in the climb out. Our temps are dropping off a little bit. We could juice it up, but that's fine. I like going a little bit slower right now. Actually, hold on, I don't want speed hold. There we go, so there we go. I think I might have hit the barrel too much. It might just be easier for cinematic purposes to do a speed hold at 275. All right, we're flying the SID, we're looking good. Vegas traffic here, star check 357 out of 13.8, last call Vegas, headed eastbound. After takeoff, gear is up, flaps are up, yaw damper is engaged, ignition is off whenever turn them on, thrust reversers disarmed, landing and taxi lights, and we're all above 10 right now too, so let's go ahead and get all these puppies off. And we'll come over here and we'll also get the recog off. That's close to 275, that's close enough. Signs as required, pressurization, we do want to check that. Cabin is climbing, we are pressurizing. Open up this window here. Look at that view. I'll give you full screen cam here. No, that's the trim. That's the trim clacker. You can disable that. It's not bothering me yet. I'll probably disable it here in a little bit, though. that is awesome. That is awesome. Smash the like button if you haven't already for this learjet. I love it, man. FlightSimulator is crushing it. Smash the like button if you like Las Vegas. Well, I don't know. I don't really like Las Vegas. Smash the like button if you like seeing learjets over Las Vegas. That is just too neat, man. Need a Saber liner. Alright, I will go ahead and disable the trim clacker. I'm going to keep the N1 clackers on for now. So we'll disable the trim clacker. Look at the view coming off the nose here. How cool is that? I've done this departure so many times. This is exactly what it looks like. You get, I mean, this is, I say this a lot, but what a time to be a flight sim enthusiast, because this is as real as it gets. I mean, that used to be the slogan from like FS98, but literally, this is as real as it gets. Center's online, 125.8. Really? Oh my gosh, this is my first ever ping message. Please contact center at 125.8. Roger that. Oh my goodness, chat, we got it. This is our first ever IVEO. Center, good afternoon. Start check 357. We're at a flight level 220, coming flight level 410.
Star Trek 357, LA Center, good day. Squawk 7253, ident.
Squawk 7253 and ident for Star Trek 357. Nope. How do you ident on this thing? I forget. There we go, hit the ident button. We're gonna lower the pitch a little bit too. We're gonna see how, you gotta make sure you keep lowering that pitch. You definitely got to fly this airplane. There's really no set it, forget it until you're
Star
at
Trek
cruise.
357, radar contact, flight level 240, climb, maintain flight level 410.
We'll climb, maintain flight level 410, Star Trek 357. Alright, let's go ahead and lower the nose a little bit more. So, as our previous, Matt was here the other day, and he was, or yesterday rather, saying that vertical speed mode, they called it very scary mode in the LEAR. So I'm not gonna start bad habits. We're gonna fly it with the barrel on the yoke, which is what I'm doing. I'm also gonna bump up here. We can do 850 max continuous. So let's go ahead and juice her up here. But yeah, you'll see that my temps are actually split, so you got to run split throttle. I mean, that's those little details. I absolutely love it. About 840. It's climbing up slowly. I'd like to see FlightSimulator do a 90s 5.2. Oh my gosh, corn duck. That's what I flew, man. So I flew the 550 Bravo. I flew the CJ2, Citation 2. So like, it would be really cool to have that. The closest we had was an airplane and X-plane, which it was okay. It was Carenado, but it was okay. I mean, it actually flew all right if you set your curves appropriately. It scratched the itch. But yeah, man, if someone could do a Citation Bravo or a 550 or a 525, that'd be awesome. All right, so there you go. See, so now my speed is increasing. I'm actually going to do a little bit more pitch.
Zero Center, good evening. Global Cessna 041 with you.
With you. Oh, I have to actually find what my volumes are.
041, good day. Catalina Airport on control, Unicom 122.8.
All right.
Can 21 Unicom 122.8. Thanks you. Bye-bye.
Dumb question. What does radar contact mean? It means they have you on their radar screen. So they can see you on primary radar, and they can see you with your altitude and speed and all that. Still got your ears? Yeah. I guess. Burger King drive-thru mic. Oh my gosh. Do you guys remember the what was it? Who was the comedian? Dane Cook? I'm bleeding from the ears here. Yeah. I've turned it down. I had it. That one might have been on me because I had my, I guess it's a Pilot Core UI. I had the volume all the way up, so that one could have been on me. I've lowered it, but apparently there's no mic leveling on IVEO either. Which I don't understand how that can't be just a simple fix. All right, let's go ahead and hit standard. We're out of 18. Let's do our checks here real quick. I'm going to be using my paper checklist, make things a little bit easier. We're at a 30. Everything looks good. Pitot heats are set. Come over here. Pressurization. Yep, we're still, we're not climbing anymore. Looks like the differential is going up, though. We're going to 41. That's set. And the air conditioning, I believe when you go above 40s, right? But would that be this, the cabin climate control we have to turn off? Because I imagine it's not very, you don't need to cool the cabin at 40,000 feet. Oh man, we're going right over them. Oh my goodness, look at that. Man, something about a Learjet over the desert too. The guy sounded like he was digesting his life. You guys are savages. Fubar, welcome back. Good to see you, man. Anybody fly Learjets in Georgia and they need a right seater to go with them for a little bit? I just want to go. I want to go sit in one. Let's zoom her out a little bit. I got to do a whole day of jump seating tomorrow. I wanted to stream tomorrow, but I got some more stuff happening on the V1 family life. So we got some. Wife and I are doing a little traveling tomorrow to go check some stuff out. So I'm going to be riding jump seats all day again. Hopefully we get back to Georgia before, I think the weather's supposed to pick off at like Dallas. But I'm lowering the pitch here a little bit. Now, where would one's, oh, this is your Mach scale. So we're doing 7.2 Mach, I see. So you gotta, this is an eye adjuster here if you haven't seen this before. As you transition right of the mid to high 20s probably from indicated to Mach, and the Airbus, it happens automatically. This is, I mean, it's automatic, but it's all digital, or excuse me, it's all analog. So you kind of have to stop looking at the indicated knots and start looking at your Mach number. So right now I'm doing accelerated almost 7.5 Mach out of 34,000 feet. Yeah, no, I know it's definitely a two-crew jet for sure. And make sure, let's open up the windows on this side. We forgot our pre-flight checks. We forgot to open the window shades. Once we get to cruise altitude, we are going to be jumping on our in-flight entertainment. Right here, we'll fire up the IFE system once we're at cruise, though. Lake Mead, I believe Lake Mead was back there, right? That was Lake Mead that we went over? Lake Mead is a beautiful lake. I've fished it a couple times. I mean, you go out fishing on Lake Mead, you don't see anybody for the entire day, which is nice. I like that. Should do some medic LEAR ops. I need to get much more proficient in this airplane first. I'm still very much on the learning side. Once I get real confident and I just got, I have my own flow patterns down and I'm pretty snappy with it. Controlling the airplane. I mean, like in the Airbus, it's second nature to me, right? Because that's what I fly in real life. But if I can develop some type of good muscle memory and good flow patterns, we'll fly this jet more for sure. I'm going to go ahead and increase this rate of climb here with the barrel knob a little more. Is Mach hold working for you? I'm not attempting to do a Mach hold right now. I was just doing I'm flying it with the barrel switch on the pitch. I see you are new here. Welcome. Recommend joining the XA Discord server if you are interested. All right, I got a message from the controller. Oh. I shall. Maybe. That Lake Powell. I think it is Lake Powell, Thrustead. Right, coming out of, well, where's Meade? Because Meade's up there too, but I think we flew over Powell. That's Powell, and then Meade was back there, or I haven't flipped. Maybe I haven't flipped. Either way, yeah, Meade's drying up for sure. In-flight entertainment today, don't go anywhere. It's going to be the video of the Lanarta Airport, the Citation jet that collided with the MD-80. I feel like it is a very appropriate one to watch because not only are we in a corporate jet, there was also a collision just recently in real life in Haneda. And I think we can learn some good lessons from it and to kind of apply some of those to either your sim life or just some good refreshers for those real pilots out there. Meade is by Vegas, Powell is by Page. Oh, that's a good way to remember it. Powell is by Page. Yeah, so Meade is by Vegas and Powell is out by Page. I've been on Powell as well. Houseboats on Lake Powell. All right, we're approaching 41,000 feet. Let's go ahead and double check or approaching 40,000 rather. Our pressurization still looks good. Differential's moving. Let's go ahead and make sure everything captures hunky-dory, and then we'll set a nice cruise power setting, which I'm going to look up here. Unless someone's got like 16 pages of, someone posted it in the Fly Simulator Discord of speeds and distances. And I printed it all. There's our altitude alert. Let's make sure it actually captures. These are all landed. I don't have any power charts. I didn't print any of those. We'll have to get those later. We'll set a conservative power setting. But before we do any of that, let's make sure she goes ahead and levels off. I'm actually going to use a little barrel down. See if I can help bring that climb rate down. I don't want to be going up to 1,500 feet a minute. Yeah, Thrust said, no, I've already spoken with Green Dot. He's an official sponsor. Official partner, I should say, rather. I'm hoping we'll be able to bring him on. I think we'll do one when maybe the 777 releases, and then maybe we can bring Green Dot on. Okay, here we go. We're approaching 41,000 feet. There's out cap on. We're leveling off. We're going to go ahead and turn the fast seatbelt. No smoking sign. Smoke them if you got them. I don't know. Let's go ahead and bring the power back a little bit.
Papa Juliet, Mike Keller Center, good day, go ahead.
Alright, turning that down. Let's go ahead and bring back more.
Request flight plane to Honolulu.
Should I have half bank on? I don't have soft or half bank on, Corn Dog. Should I have half bank on?
Stand by.
I would imagine at 41,000 feet you probably need to have some sort of banking limitations on. I can see soft ride here. Maybe I should do soft. I like the sound of soft ride. Let's do soft ride. That sounds cool. We don't want to spill the champagne in the back. Where's a quick and dirty? Where's my ground speed? 483 across the ground. 41,000 feet. We brought our power back. Our fuel flows are... We'll match them up here. Let's match up these fuel flows. Let's bring the right one back a tad. So we're only doing 400 pounds an hour. Or, yeah, that's pretty... That right? Alright, I think that's pretty stable. Let's see what how our speed settles off at. That might have been too far back. Set 87% N1. You want to have half bank on at that flight level? All right. So I'll turn soft ride off and I'll put half bank on. That would make sense. So if you kind of see what he's saying, Chad, is at 41,000 feet, the air is very thin up here. And when you introduce bank, you also introduce drag and you reduce the lift vector. And you do not want to be messing around with high AOA at 41,000 feet and above for sure. So half bank help minimize that. Kind of like if you, the visual representation would be if you're flying the Airbus and you're on approach or on arrival and you see your VLS shoot up at you when you start a turn, same deal. Except we don't have fancy VLS to show us on the glass. You just have to kind of understand what's happening aerodynamically. All right, I think at 88-ish speed and we're 85.8, we'll do a turbine sync. I think we're ready to go. I think this is nice and conservative. I like this. Oh my goodness, look at that terrain down there. Yeah, 400 per side. Correct. Correct, PC-12 driver. Robert S., thank you for the €6 donation, my friend. Appreciate you. Howdy, how is that thing? Robert S. Is that for us?
Lima Tango Bravo, listener, good day. I read you 5 Airport is uncontrolled. Unicom 122.8.
Well, Robert S., I appreciate the €6 donation, man. I'm loving it. I can't stop flying it, dude. I can't stop flying it. Cannot stop flying it. All right. There's our flight plan. Getting all nice and cozy. All right. Anybody need to do a cruise checklist? I don't think we have anything. I don't think we're missing anything. Nope. That's all done. Speed is stabilized. And it's time. You guys ready for some in-flight entertainment? V1 looks a bit too comfortable in this jet. Is there something you're not telling us? No? I'm trying to get comfortable. All right. I want to make sure my audios are set up properly here. I'm going to go ahead and turn you down.
Papa Sierra India Juliet Mike, readback is correct. Push and start is at your discretion. Advise ready for taxi. Expect runway 19 right for departure.
Let me post a message here. We are on Iveo, Caleb. That is correct. I need to go here, give me a second. I'm just powering up our in-flight entertainment, chat. Give me 1 second. There we go. Now, if I do this, and
when you hear that a plane has crashed, your mind probably jumps to something going wrong in the air. But the truth is, one of the most dangerous parts of any flight is when it's on the ground. On October 8, 2001, the worst air crash in Italian history took place at Milan's Linate Airport in northern Italy. This crash was all the more tragic because of how preventable it was. The warning signs had been blaring for years, but they were repeatedly ignored by the Italian authorities. In fact, the one piece of technology which could have prevented the entire incident was sitting in a box at the airport at the time, waiting to be installed. This is not a story of unfortunate coincidences or unforeseeable failures. Rather, this is a story of an entirely predictable and preventable accident. This is the story of the Linate Airport disaster.
All right, so background real quick before we get on with this. If you guys enjoy this in-flight entertainment, look, making content takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work, and then when you allow another content creator to share that content that you're not, it's that you make money off of, that's your livelihood, it does help when people make comments. So if you like this entertainment, you like this little partnership with Green Dot, head over to his channel, subscribe, check out some of his videos, but most importantly, leave a comment and say, hey, came over here from the V1 Sim channel, and we love your stuff, or I like your stuff, and good deal, whatever. Leave something nice, be kind, and let's get into this. So this one is I have not watched this specific video, but I've read about it. I read about it when it happened. So this is my first time seeing it. I think we got a lot to learn. I think we can apply a lot of these lessons to what's going on in current events with the recent collision in Haneda. So let's go ahead and get into it here.
On the morning of October 8, 2001, 2 aircraft were preparing to depart Milan's Linate Airport. One was a Scandinavian Airlines McDonnell Douglas MD-87, bound for Copenhagen in Denmark, while the other was a Cessna Citation CJ2, bound for Paris in France. On board the Scandinavian plane were 104 passengers and 6 crew. Most of the passengers were Italian, although there were a number of other nationalities on board, including some Danish, Swedish, Norwegian, Finnish, and others. The pilots were both...
Volume? Need more volume? Let me... I can adjust it. Let me turn up the volume.
36 years old, and between them they had more than 10,000 hours of flying experience. The captain, Joachim Gustafsson, was Swedish, and had been hired by Scandinavian 11 years previously, in 1990. He was relatively new to the MD-87, however, having just logged 230 hours on it. In his most recent simulator check in May that year, he'd received the comment, very high standard. The first officer, Anders Highlander, had been hired by SAS 4 years ago, and he had more experience on the MD-87, having logged about 2,000 hours on it. His most recent simulator check was the previous month, and he received the comment, above average.
So that's kind of interesting that they threw, or Green Dot threw that in there. That's a good detail pickup. So every time you do a recurrent check or either a type write or something, depending on your operator, for me, it's always been pretty standard. I've seen it happen several times where they are required to leave remarks. Even if you do everything right, you have to leave some sort of remark that's not just your standard, oh, he passed or she passed. So knowing that they, obviously passed without any issues and above average and like really good, I mean, you've got a pretty seasoned crew here at the controls. You've got a more experienced first officer, which it does happen, especially when you start looking at airlines with multiple fleet types. You may upgrade to an airplane that you never were on before, but the first officer you're flying with has been on it for the last 5 years. So nothing really abnormal there and a relatively seasoned crew.
Scandinavian jet was parked at a gate on the east side of the airport. Across the runway, at the general aviation apron, was the Cessna Citation jet.
There's my bird.
It was brand new, having just been registered the previous month. The pilots had just landed at Linate a few minutes earlier and were due to take 2 passengers from Milan to Paris. This was a demonstration flight, where one of the passengers, an Italian businessman, would be shown what the aircraft was like by the other passenger, a salesman for the manufacturer. The captain of this flight, 36-year-old Horst Königsmann, had approximately 5,000 total flight hours logged. The first officer, 64-year-old Martin Schneider, had approximately 12,000 flight hours experience. Both pilots had been to Linate before, with the captain having been there 5 times and the first officer having been there 7 times in the previous 2 years. As such, they would have been relatively familiar with the layout of the airport.
So, they might have been familiar, but that's, the last 2 years, unless they were just there recently, you're going to have some familiarity. But unless it's I've never been to this airport in real life, Linate, or how are you saying it? But unless there's something like special about it, you might not really, it still might be kind of foggy. I mean, 5 to 7 times in the course of 2 years. Like I said, unless it was a few weeks ago, it's probably going to be kind of a distant memory. I mean, yeah, you might be familiar, but when there's no key features like sticking out at an airport, they kind of all blend together, especially the longer you fly. What's interesting is I wasn't in this position, but I have gone on a very similar demonstration flight on a Phenom. I think was it a Phenom 300? When we were flying the Citation, he was looking to buy a different jet. So we actually went on one of these flights, a demonstration flight, with the salesman and our owner. And I got to sit up front for a moment. And then the other pilot got to sit up front. So it was kind of a neat deal. I've been in this very situation. So all is normal, and these guys are probably pretty excited.
On this morning, Linate was shrouded in thick fog. This weather was typical for the airport around this time of year, and controllers had become used to dealing with it. The airport had become busier in recent years, however, and it was decided that it would benefit from having a modern ground radar installed, which would show the position of aircraft as they maneuvered around the taxiways and the runway.
ATC called us? I'm sorry, can you say again for Star Check 357?
Star Check 357, you're leaving my airspace, Unicom 122.8.
Over to Unicom 122.8, thanks for the ATC for Star Check 357. Hold on. Let me go ahead and swap over. All right. Everything looks good up front. Let's continue on. Yeah, that's all I need is to get banned from my first flight on
Iveo. The radar system had been purchased in 1994, 7 years previously, but all this time it had been sitting at the airport waiting to be set up. An outdated system had been used at the airport before, but it was decommissioned 2 years previously, in 1999.
I won't send them any praise
With nothing
letters
but whiteness greeting them out the window, and no ground radar to guide them, the controllers had to rely on position reports from pilots to build a mental picture of what was happening on the ground. This day would have been a particularly good day to have ground radar. Both the tower and the ground controller were busy, as there were over 24 aircraft maneuvering in and around the airport at the time. At 5 minutes to 8 that morning, the ground controller gave the Scandinavian pilots clearance to taxi to runway 36, and asked them to report when they had entered the main taxiway. 3 minutes later, the Cessna pilots, at the other side of the airport, requested clearance to start their engines. They received this clearance, and around the same time, the Scandinavian plane switched over to tower frequency. From this point on, each aircraft will be tuned to different radio frequencies, and talking to different controllers. At 8:05, as the Scandinavian jet was in the queue for takeoff, the Citation jet received its taxi clearance.
Delta Victor X-ray, taxi north via Romeo 5, call me back at the stop bar of the main runway extension.
The pilot read back this instruction, saying,
Roger via Romeo 5 and call you back before reaching the main runway.
All right, so he didn't read back stop bar, which is interesting. I don't know if that in their phrase, remember, every country is a little bit different with their phraseology, but they're obviously expected to hold short. They know to hold short of any runway. Now, what's also, kind of throw it out there, being in this same airplane, low visibility, you're really low to the ground. It is more difficult to orient yourself in small corporate jets in low visibility than it is an airliner. Now, the MD-80 doesn't sit all that high either, but unless they have some type of glass cockpit or some type of avionics upgrade, it is quite the challenge, especially in low vis like this. In these smaller jets, the taxiways are wider, so you are farther away from the signs. It can be harder to see them. It is a real threat. It's an actual threat.
this is the route that the controller intended the Citation to take. They were to taxi north onto taxiway Romeo 5 and call the controller when they had reached a stop marking on the taxiway. The pilots of the Cessna began their taxi, and about 3 minutes later, they made a position report, telling the controller,
Delta India Echo Victor X-ray is approaching Sierra 4.
This confused the controller, and he asked the pilots to clarify, saying,
Confirm your position?
The pilot answered,
Approaching the runway Sierra 4.
Still confused, but deciding not to ask for clarification, the controller said,
Roger, maintain the stop bar, I'll call you back.
The Citation replied,
Roger, hold position.
The controller then contacted another aircraft, which he thought was a few hundred meters ahead of the Citation, to ask its position and ensure that there was enough room to move the Citation forwards. Once he was sure that this aircraft was safely on the apron and no longer on Romeo 5, he then cleared the Citation to proceed along the taxiway, saying,
Delta Victor X-ray, continue your taxi on the main apron, follow the Alpha line.
The Citation pilot replied,
Roger, continue the taxi in main apron, Alpha line, the Delta Victor X-ray.
The controller then added,
That is correct, and please call me back entering the main taxiway. I'll call you on the main taxiway,
replied the Citation pilot.
So I don't know the procedures here at Linate or Linate, but I can tell you right now this is very different from any type of standard taxi communication that we have in the United States. Like I said, it is different when you fly in different parts of the world. But right now, this seems to be a lot of substandard, almost conversationalist type of transmissions going back and forth here. So you can start right away. You can start to see how these Swiss cheese are starting to line up. And if you're ever in a situation where it's low visibility, and even if it's not you, more so important if it's not you. If you think the controller isn't sure where you are, you need to just stop the aircraft and get everything squared away. Make sure everyone is 100% certain of where you are, and make sure you're certain you are where you are. So anytime you're low vis like this, if you sense that anybody is missing the clue on where the position of other airplanes are, the safest course of action is just to stop, reassess, and try to build a better situational awareness picture.
Pilot. Unbeknownst to the controller, the Citation was actually not on Romeo 5, to the north of the airport, but way further south on Romeo 6. When the Citation pilot said he was passing Sierra 4, this is where he was. The pilots of the Citation could not have known that the controller had no idea what Sierra 4 was, because it wasn't on his charts of the airport. The Cessna continued taxiing along Romeo 6, and, expecting to encounter the main taxiway soon enough, crossed a stop marking painted on the taxiway. As all of this was happening just under 2 kilometers away...
So that's actually not that hard to miss. Now, I don't know what the RVR was at the time of this incident. I wish... This is an older video. He's obviously... Green Dot has... the technology has evolved for him for making videos. Like, he uses more charts, so like real charts now. But I don't know what the RVR was at that point. That would be kind of that's a big player on this accident. I would imagine it was good enough for everybody to be operating, because below certain visibilities, depending on your op specs, you may not be able to operate in this kind of condition. But passing a single stop bar like that, or a single hold point line that's not illuminated in a Citation, low riding, maybe your head's down looking at your paper chart, it can happen, especially when it's unlit.
The Scandinavian MD-87 was lining up at the runway. At 9 minutes past 8 in the morning, the tower controller cleared the Scandinavian aircraft for takeoff.
Scandinavia 686, Linate, clear for takeoff 36. The wind is calm, report rolling, when airborne squawk ident.
The Scandinavian plane replied,
Clear for takeoff 36 at when airborne squawk ident, and we are rolling. Scandinavian 686.
Right after this clearance was given, another aircraft inquired about the runway visual range, which is the visibility along the runway surface.
That's what we were just talking about.
The controller replied that it was about 200 meters. The Scandinavian jet, which was
down.
starting to roll down the runway, was just about 1,500 meters from the point where the taxiway Sierra 4 intersected the runway. At this very moment, the Citation was continuing its taxi along Sierra 4. The pilots had not been given explicit permission to cross the runway. This normally can only be given by the tower controller, not the ground controller, and the Citation pilots were never told to contact tower control.
That's a red flag.
Neither were they
right
told
there.
to enter the runway, and yet, at 10 minutes past 6 that morning, that's exactly what they did. The active runway of an airport occupies a place of almost sacred significance. To enter it, explicit permission must be received from air traffic control. Entering an active runway without permission is one of the most serious incidents that can happen at an airport, and it's called a runway incursion.
It sure is. I've had definitely one in my career. I think I've had two. The first one I've talked about up in the podcast was on us as a crew. It wasn't too serious. I mean, but it was obviously it's serious. And then there was another one where we were on the runway, and then it was an incursion with a vehicle. So it wasn't another aircraft, but it was a vehicle. Hey, delivery. Thanks.
Welcome.
See ya. But yes, anytime that you're approaching a runway and you're still on ground and you're crossing a runway on ground, it's possible, but it's kind of rare, especially in modern phraseology, especially where I fly. It's normally tower that's going to cross you or tell you to cross a runway unless that runway is closed. So that could have been a red flag there.
At this point, disaster was all but inevitable. In the fog, at the speed the Scandinavian jet was travelling, it could only see the runway about 1 second ahead of it. It reached takeoff speed of about 146 knots, or 270 kilometers an hour, and the pilot began pulling the aircraft up into the air. But just as he did this, he caught sight of the Citation on the runway, and shouted, yanking back the control column in a desperate attempt to avoid the aircraft. It was too late, however. The bottom of the aircraft's fuselage smashed through the Citation, ripping it into 3 pieces and setting it ablaze. The right-hand landing gear leg was torn off of the Scandinavian jet, as well as the right-hand engine, but incredibly, the pilot continued flying the aircraft. He pushed the engine thrust to full power and managed to keep the aircraft airborne for 12 seconds, climbing gradually to a height of 10 meters. Unfortunately, the left engine had ingested debris and was unable to produce enough thrust for a climb. The aircraft fell back onto the runway and began sliding along the ground. The pilots continued trying to control the aircraft, applying maximum reverse thrust in the remaining engine and full braking on the wheels. They tried to steer the plane to keep it on the runway. However, the aircraft was so damaged and still travelling so fast that there was no way to stop it. Travelling at over 139 knots, or 257 kilometers an hour, the plane slid over the end of the runway and crashed into the airport baggage handling building 460 meters to the north. All 110 on board were instantly killed by the impact forces.
Jeez.
The 10 tons of fuel which the aircraft had been carrying ignited, setting the building on fire.
So real quick, couple things I want to hit on. You're always, or at least I was always taught when you're first flying, if you ever are in a scenario where you pray you never are, but where you know you are crashing, or you know that you are on the way down to the ground when you don't want to be, fly the airplane all the way to the incident site. Fly the aircraft all the way to the wreckage. And you could apparently, I mean, from the recorders and everything that they had, they could tell that crew never gave up, and they were flying that airplane to the very last second. I mean, that takes a lot. You pray you're never in that situation, but these guys obviously did everything they could. Seeing that airplane last second, I would imagine that 350 in Haneda was a very similar scenario. I mean, because the nose and the 350 in Haneda was impacted directly on the nose cone, so that tells me the nose was down, or at least very close to being down. So they might have had a second where they saw that Dash 8 they were going to run over, but there is nothing you can do. I mean, you can't stop the aircraft. You're just watching the collision happen, and you're along for the ride. So terrifying, absolutely horrific. And then, of course, it's sliding into the building there, which was pretty much the demise. Had there not have been a building there, I bet you there would have been a much higher survival rate, and there would have been some survivors. You look at that 350 in Haneda as it slid across the runway. Thank God there was nothing there for it to slide into and explode. But unfortunately for this aircraft, that was not the case.
A few seconds later, the airport's traffic office contacted the tower by telephone and informed them that they heard a number of bangs. The tower controllers said that they had heard them in the tower as well, but that it sounded like somebody climbing the steps to the tower. The person calling from the traffic office said that it sounded like an engine misfiring, and asked the controller if there was anything abnormal happening on their end. The controller said that no, everything appeared okay. Despite how concerning this exchange should have been, the controller appeared unperturbed. In fact, the first alarm wasn't raised until a police officer and customs officer at one of the northern gates of the terminal heard an explosion and saw a man running towards them covered in flames. The fire brigade was called, and they rushed to the baggage facility, which was now engulfed in flames. They quickly realised that there were no survivors in the Scandinavian plane. It wasn't for at least another 10 minutes that the controller realised the citation plane was missing and dispatched the fire brigade to the runway. When they arrived on scene, it was clear that nobody had survived the impact of the larger jet and the subsequent fire.
That looks a lot. And even though that photo is old, I mean, that looked eerily similar to the remnants of that Dash 8 in Haneda, didn't it? Just hardly anything left. Tyson said the 350 pilots said they never saw anything. They didn't even know there was a fire until... I could understand them not knowing there was a fire. Wow, and if they said they never saw anything, even on impact, that's crazy, man. I mean, a proper night landing, you're looking at the far end of the runway, right? You're looking out in front of the aircraft. You're not looking right off the nose. So it could have just been that perfect timing that where that nose was coming down and that Dash 8 was blinded in their blind spot. As the nose came down, they were just so close that they wouldn't be able to see down anyway. So I guess if they didn't see them, they didn't see them. But just horrific either way. Horrific either way.
Speculated that terrorism may have been involved, as this crash occurred less than 1 month after the September 11th attacks in the US. However, these rumours were quickly dispelled by the Italian government and were ruled out almost immediately by the official investigation that followed. What was immediately clear from the outset of the investigation was that the cause of the accident was the incursion of the citation plane onto the runway while the Scandinavian aircraft was taking off. What was not so clear was why exactly this happened. Investigators determined that perhaps due to a lack of situational awareness in the low visibility, the pilots of the Cessna turned right at the point where the yellow taxi line split in two directions on the west apron, instead of left. This meant that it would taxi to the south along Romeo.
Now you got to remember, these guys now, I've been on this flight. I've been on a demonstration flight. They are, while everyone tries to be as professional and do everything by the book as much as they can, they're probably operating under a Part 91 or some type of regulation that is not like your traditional airline regulation. So in the U.S., we have Part 121. That's your airlines. Part 91, it's kind of your cowboy reg. I mean, you get the keys to the airplane. As long as you don't do anything egregious, you can really fly the airplane, do what you need to do the way you want to do it. And, you know, there could be distractions. We don't know. Are they talking? Are they showing the salesman like, look, okay, so now they're doing this and, oh, this is cool here. Check this out. There could be potential distractions or conversations that are not necessary to the taxi out of this flight that led to this as well. I'm not sure. I don't think there's any. I know we didn't have any data recorders. So unless they had some type of recording device on the citation, I don't think we'll ever know.
Romeo 6, rather than north above the runway at Romeo 5. There was far more to this mistake than pilot error, however. Investigators found that signs along the taxiways were badly worn down, and in some cases were obscured by overgrown grass.
I've seen that.
These did not conform to regulation standards, yet nothing had been done about this by the airport authorities. What's more, when the pilots of the Cessna correctly reported their position at Sierra 4, the controller disregarded that information, because that taxiway label was not on his maps, and he wasn't aware of its existence. Rather than telling the aircraft to stop immediately because he had no idea where it was, he was happy to allow it to continue its taxi around the airport while aircraft were taking off nearby in near-zero visibility conditions.
Cannot happen. Can't happen.
In a final tragic twist, Linate had one last line of defense against runway incursions of this kind. This system used motion sensors to detect when an aircraft had entered the runway and alerted controllers when this occurred. However, the system was prone to false alarms being generated by animals and vehicles, and so it had been turned off at Linate. If we rewind this story back to the beginning, however, we end up not on Linate's east apron with a wrong turn. Rather, we end up on final approach to runway 36. Why? Because the pilots of the citation jet had landed at Linate just a few minutes beforehand, in conditions which they were not certified to land in. Their licenses limited them to landing in visibility of no less than 550 meters.
There you go.
Yet the visibility at Linate was well below this. They should have diverted to another airport, yet they landed illegally at Linate.
Yeah, they landed illegally. No one's going to check up on them. In this type of environment and this type of flying environment, unless you bust something or somebody reports you, no one's probably going to find out. So that kind of falls back to what makes a good pilot. You know, you can look at the pillars of what makes a good pilot. Integrity, doing the right thing when no one is looking, having the courage to do the right thing when nobody is looking, even though you have immense pressure to get the airplane where it needs to be. I mean, they're trying to sell aircraft. There's a salesman that's going to be on board. There's a demonstration flight. Oh, it's 200 meters below what we're allowed to land in. Let's just see what happens. If we see the runway, we can do it. And, you know, it just, that type of attitude, it does rules for thee, not for me. And lack of integrity and just the willpower to do the right thing. And I'm not trying to dog on any crew here, because I have been faced with very similar situations where it's been like, man, I know I can see the airport. If I do one more approach, if I just go below minimums for 100 feet, I know I can see it. You know, I have a story coming to mind right now. It just reminded me when I was flying freight, and it was one day where I was in an old A model, and I'll tell it on a podcast story, but I was like, I flew the approach 3 times, and I was like, all right, I either have to bug out or, you know, figure out something else to do because I can't get down. I was like, what if I just go below mins? And the temptation is strong. Like, you think from an armchair perspective, oh, you'll never do anything wrong, you'll never violate. I'm telling you, when you're in this situation, it's the most inopportune time for that situation to come up, and the pressure is immense to do the wrong thing. So, but as you've seen in this story, you know, this is only one small hole in the line of Swiss cheese model of an accident actually happening.
If they had boarded their approach and flown to a nearby alternate airport, this accident would never have occurred. Or it might be more accurate to say that this accident would still have occurred, just not on this particular day. As I'm sure you've gathered, all of these mistakes and lapses in safety were not merely unfortunate coincidences. There was a sloppiness and a carelessness at Linate Airport, both on the part of the controllers and on the part of those in charge of ensuring that the airport complied with regulations to do with airport mapping and taxiway signage. An accident like this was bound to happen at some point. In fact, this accident was so overdue that an almost identical one nearly happened at Linate just a day before the crash. The previous afternoon, on October 7th, 2001, a private jet misunderstood the ground controller's taxi instructions and taxied on Romeo 6 rather than Romeo 5 on its way from the west apron to the runway. This is exactly the same mistake that the Cessna Citation crew made the following day. On this day, the visibility was more than 2,000 meters, but the controller still didn't spot the aircraft using the wrong taxiway, nor did he notice that the pilot didn't correctly read back his taxi instructions. It was only at the last moment, when the pilot of the private jet noticed another aircraft coming towards him on the taxiway, that he alerted the controller to the situation, and disaster was averted. Less than 1 month before that incident, on September 18th, 2001, another runway incursion took place. A British Midland pilot reported hearing the following conversation between an aircraft and a controller over the radio.
Where are you going? You've entered the runway.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. There's no traffic at the moment.
A collision at Milan's Linate Airport was waiting to happen for years, and on October 8th, 2001, the inevitable happened, taking the lives of 114 passengers and crew on 2 aircraft and 4 personnel on the ground. As a result of the crash, Air Traffic Controller Paolo Zacchetti and former head of the Air Traffic Control Agency Sandro Gulano were sentenced to 8 years in prison and 6.5 years in prison respectively. In 2006, these sentences were reduced by 3 years. It took the loss of all of these lives to wake up the Italian authorities to the danger lurking at Linate Airport. After the incident, they quickly installed the ground radar system, which had been lying in a box at the airport for years.
Wow.
They also updated the taxiway signage and introduced more stringent procedures for controllers and pilots to follow while on the ground. Since this disaster, there has not been another collision at Linate. Big thanks to everybody who's signed up to support the channel on Patreon and YouTube. Your contributions are really appreciated,
I've never
and they're
seen
helping
that
turn
one.
Green Dot into a viable project. This year, my goal is to continue.
All right, so we'll end it there. It was a short one today because of it's a short flight. But I do want to thank Green Dot for that. Let's go ahead and close it out. And like I said, if you enjoy those videos, or maybe you want to see them full screen and watch them on your own TV, do subscribe to his channel. Leave a comment, help his algorithm out, because he obviously puts a lot of time and effort into those videos. So just crazy. So yeah, that whole incident, when you talk about the Swiss cheese model and the how many errors it takes, any accident, and this was mentioned in the very beginning of the video, it's never, I can't think of an incident short of terrorism where it's just one thing crashed an airplane and caused loss of life. It is almost every single time a factor, a slew of errors and threats that get through these barriers. You know, you may think doing the same thing over and over is mundane. Oh, we got to clear left. Oh, I got to say clear right. I got to do like, oh, we have to verify my direct to. Remember the 757 one we did? Oh, you have to verify going direct to Roseau. Like, oh, I didn't verify that. Like you do those mundane, monotonous things over and over and over because they are just layers of protection. And once you start skipping them, they will eventually add up and those holes will align and then an accident happens. I mean, that's how it, short of, you know, like I said, short of terrorism or just a straight up, even structural failures on airplanes, I feel like have some type of historical issues, whether it's in the aircraft maintenance logbook, you know, oh, like they knew about this. You know, you look at the MD-80 jack screw situation. Yeah, that was, the pilots didn't do anything to have that happen to them, but that was a known potential hazard in that airplane. It was just maintenance on that side that started to get lax. So it's just it's unfortunate, and you know, in the wake of the current events with that Haneda collision, it is absolutely miraculous that nobody on that 350 was killed. Just unbelievably miraculous. Now it is still unbelievably sad that we lost 5 members of the Japanese Coast Guard who were doing the relief efforts for the earthquake stuff. It's just, it's saddening. But if you, I watched Blanco Lirio's update video last night on that Haneda crash, and something, you know, we were just talking about monotony and doing the same thing. NOTAMs. How many pilots out there, how many pilots in chat right now are like, oh, NOTAMs? Like you hear NOTAMs, your eyes kind of roll. Yeah, I know. I've been in and out of this airport all day. There's no new NOTAMs. There's no new. Buried in the bottom of the NOTAMs for Haneda, the stop bar, those red stop bar lights, or I think they're yellow, I'm not sure what color, I think they're yellow or red there in Haneda, were inoperative, which on any given day, any given flight is not a big deal at all. But, you know, that is a very pertinent factor. Like, hey, even if you, I mean, it's just small things like that that make your head spin. Like, I cannot believe that all those holes in the safety net lined up in the Swiss cheese, and now you have a collision. Yeah, stop bar should have been its own light. And Neil, I saw your message there. You know, you're in control of making sure lighting and signs work. That is a very important job, my man. That is a very important job. Take pride in what you do, because while you may not want to, I'm not sure exactly what your position, your specific position entails, whether you're out there clearing and making stuff visible, or you're in a more of a managerial position. But take pride in what you do, because even though it may seem silly or seem like not a big deal, it can stop a horrific accident from happening. You could be the reason a tragic accident never happens. And here's the kicker. You'll never know about it, right? You'll only know about it if you mess up or you omit something and then it comes back to you. So, Ali Sammy, I had the alert box muted. I apologize, my man. Let me come back here and get back to this. Ali Sammy, you donated $2 earlier. I'm sorry I had that muted. Let's play it here.
Bank angle. The thing that boils my blood is the fact that people have to die until changes are made. The fact that they 100% knew there were problems with the airport and they waited until people died is just crazy.
Yes. I agree with you, Ali Sammy. I completely agree with you. You know? And like I just said, no one knows when you're doing the right thing, you're never going to hear about it. You're never going to hear, oh, hey, because you did this, you know, you saved someone's life today. No, it's, hey, you remember that day that, you know, you didn't do that one thing that wasn't a big deal? Well, there was just a collision, and now we've got 100 lives lost. So, Can you control lights with the radio? Pilot quantum sim, like pilot controlled lighting? Yes, depending on the airport. If the airport lights are shut off, like uncontrolled fields, you have pilot controlled lighting. Absolutely, you can. It's amazing how the NOTAMs hold really important information, but there's nothing to inform you. Yes, the latest bold, the most important is route change. So Dottie Simvation, one of my goals, is it goals or not goals? We got to start down here. I'm just going to say, if we have to do a turn in the hold over Rebel, that's fine. We'll descend in the hold. One of my resolutions for 2024 is I am going to strive to be better at NOTAM reading. Like, I wish I could sit up here and say, hey, you know, I am every single flight, I read every single NOTAM. Now, my current system is, if I've been to that airport, like if we're doing a flight, say we're doing a turn out of an airport, right? So we leave Atlanta, we go to Orlando, and then we going back to Atlanta. If my first flight of the day, obviously I scan the NOTAMs, make sure there's nothing crazy, especially for the destination. And then what I've been doing is I make a physical mark alongside the NOTAM page of seeing what NOTAMs came out today. Because if there was a runway closure for maintenance between midnight and 3 a.m., I know about it because I've been in and out of this airport all day. You know, I don't have to read that whole specific NOTAM, but I want to know which ones have changed. So this year, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to make a conscious effort to make sure I read more thoroughly the ones that I'm assuming that I know already still stand. I mean, you scan through the NOTAM packet. Sometimes the NOTAM packet is like 100 pages long. I'm not even kidding you. It could be longer than that. And it's for stuff like unlighted tower, 375 feet off the extended center line for 26 left at approximately 27 feet AGL, right? So it's NOTAMs like that where it's like, it's a sea of NOTAMs. The system needs to be better. Now, what is nice is on our current in-flight or our real-world tablets that we use, you can filter NOTAMs by procedure. So if I look at the SID, I can click NOTAMs, and it will show me all pertinent NOTAMs only for that SID. So whether it's something, a fix on that SID, or maybe it's a runway NOTAM particular to that SID transition, you know, it'll all be there. So, yeah, pertinent NOTAMs in the ATIS, Taylor Earl, the problem with that is there's going to be so many of them still. Even, like, you can still have pertinent NOTAMs, and then who decides what's a pertinent NOTAM, what's not a pertinent NOTAM? You know, the system is not perfect. I don't know how you make it perfect. I don't know if you can make it perfect, but that is one of those things that's just like, oh my goodness, man. NOTAMs can drive you nuts. Now, on long flights, it's actually easier because what I'll do if I'm going, let's say I'm doing a transcon, I'm going to LA. I just did this the other week. So we got a long flight to LA. It's going to be 4+ hours. You know, I will look at the first thing I do for LA is I scan all of the NOTAMs for runways only. That's the first thing I look, because I want to see if there's any approach changes to runways. So like if there's an ILS minimum change, that's important stuff. So I immediately scan the whole packet for runway specific stuff. And then I look at the last couple of days, make sure there's nothing new and crazy. And then we're like, okay, then when you're on a long flight like that, that's when I do bring out the NOTAM packet and I continue to thoroughly check, make sure there's nothing that's snuck in there. Like, oh, maybe there's a, you know, if you go around on this runway, you know, you have to change your fix to this, you know, things like that. I want to make sure I cover. So on longer flights, it's easier. Where you get complacent is when you're doing those short hops back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, what happens if the NOTAM pops out and you just like skip over it, right? So awful stuff. All right. Why did they change NOTAMs to notice to air missions? Because notices to airmen is sexist. So that's, you know, we talk about stuff on, we're not going to get into it, disregard. But yeah, they notices to airmen was sexist, apparently, after I don't know how many years of aviation. It's funny, I was flying with a female pilot, C-17 chick, total badass when this NOTAM changed, and she got all pissed. She's like, I can't believe I've worked my whole life to be an airman, because you take pride in being an airman. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If you're an airman, you're an airman. That's how it always was, but apparently in recent culture, it's now air missions, to be all-inclusive. But she was all upset about it, too, and I just thought it was funny, because I'm sitting there like, oh, notices to air missions, and then she went off, and I didn't even say a word. I was just like, all right, tell me how you really feel. But, yeah, welcome to 2024. So that's what the FAA is worried about, changing, you know, when you could be improving other systems. You know, it is what it is. That's government bureaucracy for you. Government bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. Anyway, chat, we need to lock it in here. We need to figure out, speaking of, what's going on here in this situation. So let's go to menu. Oh, we have charts now. Actually, I want to zoom in here a little bit. Let me go back. I actually have this chart up. Let's zoom in. I want to go direct to DBL. How can I bring the chart up? Hold on, I know there's a way. I'm still learning my way around the 750. Menu, no. Back, charts. There we go. That's what the one I wanted. All right, let's zoom in. Red table VOR. I tell you what, let's go. Oh, this chart, these aren't jet charts. They're hard to read. Oh my goodness, look at that view. Let me pull out my Navigraph real quick. We're probably gonna have to do a descending in the hold here. That's fine. We got a little bit behind. So there's an RNAV over red table. So I'll show you what I'm looking at real quick here. This is what we're probably going to do, just so we're completely stable. So this is, I kind of want to shoot this loc approach, but what we're going to do is, I've noticed there's a hold fix here on the RNAV. We're going to do a manual hold. We're going to go direct to red table. We're going to establish ourselves in a holding pattern here with a 346 outbound, 166 inbound, and then we'll descend in the hold, which looks like you can get down to about 13.7. And then once we're stabilized there, we'll go ahead and actually shoot the loc. So we're going to fly past our approach course here. We're going to get stabilized in the red table VOR, and then we're going to come back. Now we could just go direct Ajax too. That might be easier. What's Ajax? It's not on here. Ajax is 13.4. We could go direct Ajax. That would actually make life a lot easier. And then we can hold at Ajax if we need to. So let's do that. Let's scratch everything I just said. Let's go back. Let's go flight plan. What I want to do is go down here, up, too far, up, Ajax, IAF, and I want to go direct to Ajax, direct to activate. All right, we're going direct to Ajax, and we're going to need to descend down. So the shift button doesn't make that faster. I don't think anything makes it faster. I'll just click and hold it. So what we'll do is we'll hold outbound on the loc. That Ajax. Let me double check what the altitude is. Coming across 13.4, that is 13.4. So let's make it 13,400 feet at Ajax. And then we'll hold on the loc course if we need to. So let's scroll in 113.4, and we'll go ahead and I think we're locked in. Re-engage. This happened to me. So I installed the fix, but now we're back. We're locked in again. I guess it didn't quite fix it. If I vertical speed. There we go. We'll go very scary mode. Pitch down. Well, it worked for a second. Well, this is going to be a problem. Why is our secondary on? Let's go here. We'll disengage. We're gonna depower the autopilot in the turn at 41,000 feet. Not recommended. Alright, there we go. Now we got it. Now if I control pitch down, yes. Alright, we've got it. We've got the barrel working now. Yeah, I had it wouldn't even let me push the barrel over, Matt, but I got it now. Let's go ahead and arm you. So basically you just have to disconnect and reconnect according to get rid of that bug. So Ajax, can I insert a hold to Ajax? I don't think I can. we're going to select heading mode. Let's go ahead and work that power back. Start a nice descent here. Love the fart sound. Let's go ahead and trim in about a 2,000 foot per minute descent rate. Perfect. All right, with that, I'm going to go ahead and select heading. And now we have to get ourselves established outbound on the loc at Ajax here. So what we can do is we can make this OBS mode. We don't want to do that yet. Let's make it actually turn, and then we'll put it in OBS mode. Because the inbound should be 151. Let me look at the chart here. 151 inbound and 111.15. So I'm going to set the first officers to 151. We got plenty out. There's no 151 on the first officer side. And I'm going to go ahead and go heading out to the left. That looks good. All right. And then if I go ahead and select, let's see, to Jargu, we're going to go OBS mode, 151. There we go. Now we've got ourselves set up as basically we're going to do a parallel entry here, overshoot a little bit. That's fine. We're coming around. We're coming around. All right, we're establishing outbound on a hold over Ajax out of 37,000 feet. We'll go ahead and start dialing you down. What's the field elevation? Like 6,000 something? It's up there, right? Alright, so we're going to go outbound for a little bit here. And what we'll also do is we need to set, so we've got 111.15 is the loc. We'll put the loc in the active on the 750. And then we'll make sure that our secondary radio, 111.15, also has the loc freak. .15 on the loc, and you can see loc is over here on this one, 151, 151. Let's continue to proceed outbound at Ajax, 13.5 in the descent. Okay, we're getting back at it here. We're a little off on our inbound course, that's fine. Cabin altitude as required, anti-ice, we're going to need it here in a minute. Transition level, we'll check and set that at 10,000 lights, signs, and approach briefing with you. So let's go ahead and kind of do this approach briefing. I'm going to go out here at about 25 miles or so. Elevation 7838. Thank you, Force Raptor. So we'll call that, well, okay, we'll keep coming down because we're at 40. We're going to wait, actually. We don't have to spin that yet. All right. Let's look at the chart one more time here. Let's get our mins in. So for the loc approach, I'm going to hide this. 111.15, 151 inbound. MDA refer to minimums. What are we going to be? I think we're going to do Cat C for safety purposes. We're probably between B and C. We'll take C, which is going to be 10960 MDA. So let's just call it 1110 for the Barrow, which, if we look at the AGL, man, that's going to be 3,100 feet. Now, this is something I've never said in the LEAR. Here's your Barrow ref. Well, we don't want to mess with that. Where do we set our DH? Down here, maybe? This is something that I have not messed with yet. Where do you set your decision height? All right, here comes 22.5. I'm going to go ahead and turn back to the left. And we'll establish on course inbound to Ajax. Right side is where you set the Barrows. N1 reminder, altimeter, alerter, day, night. Aha! Aha, ha, 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 I found it. So we need to set, geez, for a rat out, let's just call it, it won't even go up that high. goodness. So it won't even go up that high, times 1,000. You'd have to use an MDA for sure. But I will set as high as it goes. That's funny. It's not even, it only goes to 2,000 feet. Oh no, it doesn't. That's times 100. No, yeah, that is right. 2,000 max. Alright, we'll come back around. Let's intercept back to Ajax. Look at these views down here, though. Telluride traffic. What's our call sign? Telluride traffic start check 357. At 29,000 feet. We're holding over Ajax, about 25-mile legs. We're setting up for the Loke Echo into Aspen traffic. So we'll just have to be mindful of our own baro mins. Put that on nav 1 as well. Alright, oh, sorry, I left Navigraph on the screen. Alright, so 1096, call it 11. Let's just, easy math, 1,100 or 11,000 feet barometric is our minimums. 11,000 feet. That's going to be all the way down at Sayag, which is 4 miles out. So we're going to have several step downs to hit on the way down. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to leave the windshield anti-ice off just because I want to see you guys. I want the ice to build up here. It's pretty cool. I'm going to get the nacelle heat on. Our star warning is on. And we are going to go ahead and let's increase this rate of descent. We're going to have 26. We'll do one more turn in the hold here. We're going to bring the power back. Try to maintain about 250 knots. Now remember, this is not a, this is not a full, the nacelle heat is on. We got the light. That's normal. Let's go ahead and get all of our other lights on. You all need to buckle up. Well, it is Colorado. We'll leave the no smoking sign off, but you can just fasten up. Fasten up those seatbelts. We'll get all of our lights on so we don't have to do it low level just to make my life easier as single pilots. All our lights are on. And here we go. You can see that CDI needle coming in. I was late on that. Yeah. This is an ugly looking hold, but it's not a real published hold anyway. I'm going to go ahead and pitch command down further here, get a little power off the airplane, maintain just under 250 knots. Have you set up the steering button? Neil, I did. Yep, I've got the momentary steer button push, and I also have the toggle on. So, yeah, it's great. I've got, thank you all to who sent the messages in the chat for or in the Discord about using SPAD. I have a SPAD profile that I'm working on that somebody helped me with. I can't remember your name, but if you're in the chat, thank you. And also, I found somebody messaged me some native commands as well. So right now on this flight, I'm actually using mostly native commands. And they seem to be working pretty good. All right, let's see if we'll establish inbound here. 23,000 feet. We've got another 10,000 feet to lose. It's okay. We were watching in-flight entertainment, so we got a little bit behind. Let's take a look at the METAR. Actually, I could probably pull it from the 750, can I? Aspen. Is it actually going to be in here? There it is. Ah. Right now, 040 at 6, 10 miles, broken, -4, 29er, 89er. 040 at 6. So we'll have a quartering tail in, unless you want to circle. I am not confident in doing a visual circle, but we'll take a look at it when we get down there. That Aviation Geek, we're arriving into Aspen, Colorado, my friend. Aspen, Colorado. We're on the descent. We're about to go into the soup. I love this airplane. So much fun. V1, I just fast forwarded after watching Green Dot and waiting until people die, make changes, remind me of the EGF 4148, which also we should. Jeremy, I will look into it, my friend. I will look into it, man. I wasn't sure if we would. This flight was just long enough where we could sneak in a short IFE, a Green Dot video. On our long haul, we'll do some longer ones. I was searching for a short video, but yeah, Jeremy, we're gonna hit up a bunch of cool, not cool, but a bunch of very interesting incidents and accidents where we can kind of break down, and I can kind of interject some of my real world knowledge. or not even knowledge. It's more like experiences. You know, I think it's kind of neat to look at everything we've learned from certain accidents in the past, and then I can apply, you know, situations that have happened to me, and it creates good discussion. Arm thrust and reverse. Armed. Thank you. And I tell you what, since we're getting close to 10,000 AFE, we'll just go ahead and get our air ignition on now. I'm going to start one more turn outbound. We're going outbound here one more time, and then we'll proceed inbound at 13,400. Verifier out cell is armed. Oh man, look at these views. Yeah, Jeremy, so that Eagle flight that you're referring to, 4184, I flew with a guy that was close friends with the first officer on that incident. Very sad. I think they had actually grown up together. All right, out of 18, let's go ahead and set magic barrel ref key. That doesn't seem right. It didn't change. What was the weather? $2986. Let's just go ahead and set 2986. 2986 set once. Set twice. I know there's a standby in here somewhere. There you are. 2986 set 3 times. Kind of zoom in. We can see our overlay there of the chart. Kind of neat. Let's go ahead and square up that parallel course. Aviator Nick, good evening, good afternoon. Zach V1, gotta head out. Great stream as always. I'll catch the landing on replay. Zach, thank you for stopping by, hanging out with us today. You enjoy the rest of your day, my friend. All right, going through my paper descent. Field elevation, cabin altitude to field elevation. We actually have to climb the cabin a little bit, right? Is that right? Am I doing that? Yeah, I guess so, because it's right about there. Cabin altitude, field elevation is set. Anti-says required transition level. Barrow set and cross-check. Flight level 100 recognition lights are on. Signs on. Approach briefing is reviewed. We're going to be diving and driving on the low. Landing data, N1 VREF and approach. I don't actually have the speeds for that. Skid, flap, stress, reverse, ignition. Everything else is done. So we need to look at our gross weight real quick here. There's our altitude level off. Let me pull up the iPad. Now, will this show me? I think it will show me my gross weight. So real quick, let's do a gross weight check because this is going to be important here. Our current weight is 129, or 12.9, I should say, 12,900. Current weight is 12.9. Starting to slow down there below 200 knots. Let's get some power in. We don't need to start configuring just yet. I'm going to go outbound just a little bit further. I have a picture of the approach charts, or approach speeds I want to use. No, I don't have a picture of them. Weight, we're 12.9, so we'll call it 13,000. VREF 119, VAP 126. So 126 is VAP. Can we move these? Right there. Let me double check. At our current weight. T-Vodka, you gotta get out. Take it easy, bud. 126 and 119. 126 and 119. Set it right about there. Alright, Digital Mert, I don't know if you're in the chat, but just hopefully you're on point with the speeds. Alright, let's come around and join the Loke inbound. So what we're going to do is we'll actually keep it in GPS, but we're monitoring the raw data localizer over here. So we're doing monitor only with the GPS. That's why we still have our CDS in nav mode. But our localizer over here is being backed up with raw data on 111.5. All right, I'm going to slow it up to about 180 knots. We'll extend flaps 8. We're below 200 right now. Let's extend flaps 8. Start configuring, getting that trim running. And we also need flight recorder ready. Let me get this up here so I can stop clicking between screens. All right, flight recorder is ready, but it's not recording yet. So make sure you let me know to activate that here. Well, I'm going to wait till we get in, although we're still 16 plus miles out from Ajax, so we're a little ways out. We'll go flaps 8, 180 knots, what we're going to fly this approach at initially. Power's set. You know what I should have done is turn turbine sync off as well, because we're down here ripping around. Let's make that heading a 120, and then we'll intercept the nav course inbound on this. We'll keep it in nav mode. Like I said, verifying with the loc on the first officer's localizer. Who needs speeds when you have an AOA gauge? Hey, that's a great point. Got to be paying attention to that AOA. Crimson Ghost, yeah, you're just in time, my friend. You're just in time. We're about to intercept the loc inbound for 15 Aspen. Cut stock. I bet you it was, man. That's wild. This airport's no joke. I love the King Air. What model King Air are you in, cut stock? I love the King Air. I have 120 to join, 12 miles from Ajax. Turbine sync, you can either do a fan sync or a turbine sync. I was always told, I don't know if there's any truth to this, I couldn't really tell. If you do a turbine sync, it's better for the passengers to hear, as you don't hear the you know, as if you're twin props. N1 was supposed to be better for being up front. I don't know if there's any truth to any of that, but we just used, I think we used fan sync most of the time on the citation. Can't remember. All right, nav is armed. 180 knots, we're flaps 8. We're joining the final approach course, 10 from Ajax. Oh, in the sim, 350 by Black Square? Oh yeah, I love that one, cut stock. I'm hoping you'll see some King Air stuff here very soon. I'm trying to set something up externally, and if I can get it to pan out, we might be doing a lot of King Air, a lot more of these smaller aircraft. Someone was saying 2024 is the year of the long haul. I'm thinking it might be year of the GAs. All right, inside of Ajax. Now let's see. We are actually, why is our DME on? I need DME on nav 2. I need you to be nav 2 DME. 20 miles. There's our DME for nav 2. So we're 20 miles out. That's what I needed, and I need to keep my approach chart open on a different screen. Alright, approach chart is open on a different screen. At 13 miles, DME, not GPS, we will descend down to 12,900, so let's prime that up. 12,900 is armed. And remember, that's only off this. It's not off of our fix here, which we got. So we're going inbound to Jargu. Still 4 miles to go. I'm going to go ahead and start. I'm going to come back to 160, I think. You can see the terrain radar. That's pretty cool. We'll pull some power off. Let's slow it up to 160. Flaps 20. That'll be nice and stable here. Theoretically, oh, that's because the gear. Bring the power up. Maybe we shouldn't have gone flaps 20. Come on. Alright, we'll We'll go back to flaps 8 to get rid of that gear horn. That's something I'd learned. All right, I guess we're hand flying it. All right, down to 12.9. We're gonna hand fly it. Because I can't get the altitude hold to unlock itself. So now we're climbing. Dang it. Alright, old school. Alright, inside of 10.9 we can go all the way down to 12.3. 12,003 is armed. Well, let's get on down here. Let's go gear down, flaps 20. Recording is on. Inside of 9 miles, we can drop to 11.7. So we're getting close. Let's go 11.7. Flaps 40. We're slowing up. We gotta get down. We're a little bit behind. Inside of 7.1, we can go down to 11.7, which is already armed. We're actually on a nice constant descent. So then after that, our minimums, what did we say? 11 something? 1100? 11.1? I can see the runway down there already. Look at that. Put the engine anti-ice lights. Alright, so let's go ahead and work her down. Keep a little power on the airplane. So we can keep those lights extinguished. Because we have the heats on, we need the pressure from the engines. Oh, look, you can see the ice building. Let's go ahead and get a little windshield heat on. Get rid of that ice on the window there. All right, now we can see the airport. Now, if you were in an Airbus, you're probably not in a normal position to land here, but we can go ahead and make this work.
Sync rate.
Check. Sync rate check. We're going to go ahead and correct that. We'll close that. We're in a normal position to land. We'll go ahead and keep coming down here aggressively, and then we'll stabilize on a nice 3-degree path.
Sync rate.
Yeah, 6.49 glide slope,
Sync
right?
rate.
I need to inhibit TAWs. Oh, no. Should have inhibited that. All right, we're out of the icing condition, so I'm going to come idle here for a minute. We'll get those ice lights on. I'm going to go ahead and descend down, get on a nice path. Look at that terrain, though. How awesome is that? 060 at 4 knots, so pretty much a direct crosswind, or was it 04? I think it was 040 at 6 knots, so almost a direct crosswind, a little bit of tailwind, getting a little slow, correcting. Let's get that power in. Now we got 2 whites on the PAPI. We'll go ahead and get power in the airplane, shallow out that descent. Let's get nice and stable. Normal approach here. Looking good. Replay is recording. We got you. I got you. Thank you. Replay is recording. We're on VAP speed. That looks good there. Gear is down, right? Yeah, gear's down. 3 green. That would be a shame. And thrust reversers are armed.
500.
A little bit low on the PAPIs. These PAPIs are, we got 1 white there. We're part 91, right? So we can go ahead and do whatever we want to do on the PAPIs. I'm just going to bring her in for a nice, stable approach. We'll roll her out. No crazy winds here, so just take her easy. A little fast, correcting. Ooh, getting some turbulence coming through these hills here. Spoilers. Holding my steering. Reversers deployed. Check. We'll let go of the steering switch. Oh, I love that. Now I'm going to go ahead and turn it on with my other binding. Slowing her down. Bring that reverser to idle reverse. We can take Alpha 6. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Telluride. Can you imagine when we got a super awesome sound pack? That was fun. Now, I forgot to put the control cam on for you, but you don't need to see that. It's basically just elbow cam anyway. That was fun. That was fun. I'm going to stop the recording right now. No collision. See, when I have the bindings, it's easier. If you notice, so when we touched down, you'll saw the steer light came on, so I was holding that on the yoke after the nose came down, which is this red button right here. So when you press that, you can hold it momentarily, and then once I was slow enough, I went over to my other binding, which would toggle the actual switch down here on the pedestal, which you could just have your first officer say, hey, can you flip that steer switch on for me? So, awesome stuff. That was so much fun. That was fun. Let's go ahead and clean it up. Let's go ahead and turn off all of our heats. Our NAC heats can come off. We'll go ahead and turn off the windshield heat. We no longer need that. We'll leave our lights on for landing here. And this is the terminal side, right? Where we kind of got disoriented. Oh, let's go ahead and stow those speed brakes. Yeah, that's the terminal, so we need to go down here. Telluride would be a second leg? Oh, I'm tempted. Tony Johns. This is Aspen. What did I say? Telluride? Yeah, this is Aspen. What did I say? Aspen. You know where we are. Telluride, Aspen, same thing. Both ski resorts. Is that look at that. The lodge over there, fire? I don't know what that is. The scenery is just beautiful. Taylor Earl, I'm being completely honest with you, I don't know what scenery this is. Second leg. If there's a second leg, it'll be on a separate stream later with a short hop to Telluride. If there is. I'm not sure there's going to be a second leg or not. We're going to leave the lights on for replay mode. We'll bring her on in here. Burp. Brakes are set. We did it. That's the default. Okay. Yeah, if you think it's default, then it's default, because I don't remember ever purchasing an Aspen scenery. Yeah, I was gonna say if it's anything, it might be something free off the FSTO, but I have no idea. It's been a long time. I'm gonna save this. I don't know why I'm saving all these replays. Should I save it? Yeah, let's save it. What the hell? We'll save it. Lear landing Aspen. Lear Os. Lear ass. Saved. All right. Pac-Man, I think this is where we crashed the MD-80 or almost crashed it, right? We crunched it. It was either Aspen or Telluride. All right, this is going to be juicy. Into the replay we go. Look at that, 6.5 degree path down. 6.5, you can start to make it out. Look at the view coming in here. Pretty good for default. I agree, Aviator Nick. Does the Throttletek have a Lear 35? They have a corporate jet. I don't know which one they have. Abigail. You have to check the website. I might check it myself. I don't know if they have a Lear 35, but I know they have a corporate one. Corporate jet on there. Yeah, we just missing that real high quality sound set for this bird. Look at these views coming in here, though. Look at this. If you're on this side, look at the low clouds. Oh, my gosh. Please hit that like button, because I want to do more Lear stuff, and the more likes we get, the more Lear videos we can do. Tony Johns, I'm going to look at that right after this stream, my man. I'm going to look at that right after this stream. So, that was a really cool... I mean, the flight model on this airplane, I got to tell you, there are... Oh, look at the ice forming on the windows. there are far and few between airplanes, especially when you start getting into the light jet GA, where the flight model really feels unrestrained, if I can say that. Wow, we're going to need to turn the heat on or else we're not going to be able to watch our replay. Let's get the windshield heat back on. There we go. And this LEAR, when I'm flying it down on this approach, even when we crashed in Santa Monica, I cannot complain about the flight model at all. It feels so free and fluid that you can feel how she's slippery. You get behind that power curve, you got plenty of power to get her out of that power curve, so you better make sure you don't shoot out the other side and end up being fast. It's a delicate balance, and I feel like that's really well simulated here. I mean, it is. I cannot say enough good things about this current flight model. Now, is it 100% accurate to the real LEAR 35? I don't know. I've never flew the LEAR 35. But from a real pilot perspective who's flown light jets, I can tell you I am in love with the way this airplane flies, and I think Fly Somewhere is just, for an early access airplane, I can highly, highly recommend it, even in its early access state. Dennis R., your first timer, loving your stream. Dennis R., well, thank you for hanging out with us today. I hope you come back for another one. Welcome to the V1 Nation, man. They have a LEAR 45 throttle. Okay, Nick, thanks. But like right here, you'll see it. We start, like, there's some little, not a lot of wind, just some gusts, you know, just some light wind, some light turbulence coming in over these hills. And like, you can just feel it in the airplane, just smooth. It's just all right there. There it is. There's that little burble, like a little burble effect. Little Dutch roll trying to form on me right there. Let's see how we did on touchdown. I like how even the light's blacked out there, as it should for the crew. Establish a nice pitch attitude, hold it off, kiss the runway, spoiler deploy. Now, will the reversers deploy in replay? Let's take a look. I don't know, I may have to. Oh, they do in replay. Awesome. I mean, look at that. I didn't even touch my controls. Everything replayed perfectly. That is awesome. So I found out on my hardware, I'm gonna have to mess with it some more. For the reversers to work, I really gotta I kind of have to slow down. I can't just deploy buckets right away, or else it adds forward thrust. So I go ahead and I flick that switch for the spoilers to pop up, and then I go with my reverse bucket. It feels so much faster than an airline because you're smaller. I think that's what it is, Abby. I think it's because you're such a smaller airplane, and everything happens more. I can't think of a better word than visceral. Like, it's just, it's such a small jet and so responsive in all the different axes. It happens, and it happens with intention. You can hear that spoiler switch. Little lost center line. That's all right, that's on me. It's funny, I used to, when I first started flying the Citation, I'll do a Citation GoPro view here. You can probably, I don't know if it's still on my channel. So the very first video I took, my first got on a Citation, the guy that was training me, good buddy of mine, we're still good friends. He flies the Falcon right now. I was like, hey man, can I put a camera in the nose? I'm like, yeah, whatever, Part 91, I'm sure. So on the landings, I would start critiquing him, like, hey man, you're always left the center line. So then it became a running joke. Like, he would always land left the center line, and I could think I just channeled my inner 7 Sierra Delta roots and landed left to center line, because that's how he taught me to land on left to center line. I love it. Absolutely love it. That's the first view I had when I stuck a little camera up there on the nose when I was learning how to fly this 550. All right. One more. I know which will be a cool one. You know what would be cool? It'd be coming right over the numbers. Actually, let's do this. Oh, what did I do? Hopefully I didn't. Let's do this. And then we gonna get out of here. Oh yeah, let me disconnect the camera from the airplane. Let me turn up the rotation speed to like almost maximum. Zoom. Look how fast it looks. I mean, you're high altitude, right? So your true airspeed's up. Okay, that was awesome. Rewind it back. Watch this again. Max volume. I gotta be here for this. What? That looked like a YouTube video of that LEAR doing a high-speed pass. There's a video of the LEAR doing a high-speed pass. This is exactly what it looked like. Let's watch this again. I think I might be too far out. Where are you at? Where'd it go? Oh. It's still that far out? Here we go. Oh, I didn't disconnect from my veil. Thank you. Thank you, Victor Silva. Watch this high-speed pass. Can't even keep up with the camera. Banned in 24 hours. All right, chat. I'm out of here. If I don't see you for a second one later this evening, that'll be it until probably Monday. And then we'll have to go to Indianapolis in the Airbus because I got to remember how to fly the Airbus for my line check. Until then, y'all stay safe, stay healthy. I'm V1. I can't even rotate fast enough. I'm out of here. Soup!